Hey everybody, Mike Miller with the Herald Times, checking in from the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Apologize if this sound isn't great. They're actually breaking down the arena right now. Looks like they're getting it turned over for hockey, so we're a bit noisy here. This is really the only place I can do this, so apologies in advance. Coming to you after a 71-68 Indiana loss to Fort Wayne here in an arena that was packed full of IU supporters, about 90% easily. I mean, this was a home game away from home. They serve beer here, and I totally understand if you reached for one or reached for a couple. Actually, after watching this, terrible defense, frankly embarrassing. In offense, it really just never found its comfort, never found its footing, never seemed to click. We heard Tom Green talk about communication. It seems like this team still lacks a voice. I guess it also lacks just that defensive mindset. I think that's so much of defense, just having that proper mindset on that side of the court. Indiana's still looking for that. Turnovers are still an issue for this team. We saw, early on in the first three games that the turnover bug that at times plagued them last year, not yet solved. Tonight it seemed, at least offensively, Indiana seemed to settle a lot. 7 for 24 on three-point attempts. Some of them at least. Maybe half of them. I don't know. I can go back and watch, but it seemed like a good amount were contested. Just seemed to settle maybe a bit too much. Barely out-rebounded Fort Wayne, 43-39. And that wasn't always the case. Fort Wayne came to play. I mean, there's a part of me that wonders if they were honestly a little insulted just by hosting a team and just being completely just feeling like the stepchild in this game. Although you understand. Let me set it up. Total sea of crimson. Even beforehand, I think the only thing missing from this was Chuck Crabb doing the PA. I mean, they even played the same pregame hype video, or at least a version of it. The same pregame hype video that they play at Assembly Hall was on the big board up here in Fort Wayne. They played the IU fight. I mean, it just felt like they were obviously catering to Indiana, and for good reason. I mean, that's the whole reason. I mean, this place sold out, 13,000 strong. Again, probably 90% of them wearing IU colors, but it was Fort Wayne that came to play, frankly. IU just didn't play, and that was apparent from the beginning. Get out to an early 3-0 lead on Thomas Bryant 3, and Fort Wayne goes on a 10-0 run. Again, they had little trouble, Fort Wayne, that is, getting to the rim. IU left shooters in the corners. It was just so many breakdowns. I think at times probably the best defensive stretch Indiana had was at one point later they switched to a 2-3, and granted it wasn't the prettiest 2-3, but it was something. It was something to switch it up, and it actually worked. It actually gave Fort Wayne a little bit of trouble, but they hit some shots. I mean, Case and Harrell 3 for 10 actually. I mean, those three were pretty big, especially down the stretch. Mo Evans was pretty darn good. Bryson Scott 18 points. Just turnovers again. I mean, again, there's just no fluidity to this offense right now at times. But I do think that a game like this, can be valuable in the sense that you saw where they came from last year going to Maui and especially the Duke game. I'm not going to compare Fort Wayne to Duke, but going into this type of environment, having being forced to adjust and learn on the fly, I think there's some value in that, and we'll see how that pays off coming down the road. Obviously, next week there's going to be a huge test at Assembly Hall. North Carolina coming in for the ACC Big Ten Challenge, a rematch of sorts from last year's Sweet 16. But play like this, that you're going to leave Assembly Hall that night next week very disappointed. They'll have a tune-up game on Sunday hosting Mississippi Valley State, I believe. So there is a chance to correct some of the things that doom them on this night. Tell you what, and you talk about defensive struggles, their defensive whiz. I mean, the guy who really it all kind of centers around on that end of the floor, OG Anunoby, a total non-factor tonight. Turns out he was sick. He developed a bug sometime earlier Tuesday. Played only 13 minutes, didn't score. Again, just looked out of sorts from the very beginning. At one point in the first half, I believe he was subbed out for Zach McRoberts, who honestly Zach McRoberts played pretty darn well. That's I think the version of Zach McRoberts that IU hopes to be able to lean on in spurts at times this year. Certainly a walk-on who's capable of playing far above that walk-on tag. We saw that at times, but it's so hard to overcome when you don't have that length from Miami. And again, that could have really helped Indiana again, stemming some of the easy lanes. That's loud. Stopping some of the easy lanes that the Fort Wayne had to the basket. It was just. It's easy to say that the team that deserved to win tonight certainly did. That's probably the best way to put this. Indiana just didn't come to play. And it was just a strange way to end a night where Indiana arrived ranked number 3 in the nation, and it will wake up in the morning watching SportsCenter, if it can stomach it at all, seeing just a really disappointing loss. Again, a loss that can hold some value for a team that's willing to learn, but it's a loss that needs to be learned from. Again, going back to the communication that Tom Crean talked about, this team's still looking for a voice, still looking for just communication on the floor, and just kind of communication on defense, communication on offense, and just at times they do look disjointed and struggling to find the rhythm that really has carried this team when it is the best version of itself. So again, I don't know what to wrap with here. It's just a again, you hope to learn from it. That's how you handle this one. My computer's actually dying, so we'll wrap this. We'll make this a brief one. We'll be back to wrap it up in different ways this week, in print, online. Find us at Herald Times Online, Hoosier Sports Report. Jeremy Price wasn't with us tonight. I was flying solo, so I'm going to wrap it up just a little bit early. Thanks for watching, guys.